time you go away, I get this empty feeling inside. You know how much I hurt, sometimes I even cry. Then I look at your pictures and I get warm inside. And I won't rush to where you are, just to let you know, just to let you know. Baby, you got my heart. Every time you look at me that way, won't worry about tomorrow, 'cause I got you here, oh yeah, got you here today. Giving life, doing it for soul. Whenever you come around, it feels some more. 'Cause you're all I ever wanted. My life has never meant this much. You're the one for me in this great big world. Gotta let you know, gotta let you know. Baby, you got my heart. Every time you look at me that way, won't worry about tomorrow, 'cause I got you here, oh yeah, I got you here today. If I ever had to leave, I don't wanna be far from you. I wanna start my life and live my fantasy too. The only way that can happen is for you to be here. And then I'll hold your hand and tell you once again, tell you once again, baby, you got my heart. Every time you look at me that way, I won't worry about tomorrow, 'cause I got you here, oh yeah, I got you here today.
Season 1, Episode 7, live at Chance's house. Hey, how you guys doing out there? What's going on? So we got all kinds of cool things going on today, and the first thing is, if you noticed, hey, I am in HD. That's right, so a little bit of investment, little new stuff happening here. Got a webcam, and excited about the fact that we can up our game a little bit, thanks to our sponsors at, I always get that wrong, Joe's Tavern and Grill. So, hey, just wanted to say welcome. It's a Sunday show. Not going to do the same thing that we normally do. Sundays are a little bit different, so Thursday night's going to be live at Chance's house to be playing, but Sundays are going to be a little bit more about hanging out, you know, playing some tunes, show a couple of videos, do whatever that may look like. But just wanted to welcome everyone. For those who've never been here before, of course, you probably know because it's on my Facebook. I am Chance Munsterman, and I appreciate everyone who's dropped by to say hello. So let's get started. First things first, big announcement. Big announcement for me. I don't know if it is for anybody else, but I'm excited about it. Big announcement is that yesterday, well, it would have been a roll over midnight. What's going on, Lee? How you doing, man? Thanks for stopping in. I know that Joe's is having a shindig, and I'm sure the neighbors are catching up as well with what's happening in the world. But this will be perfect for them as well. The song, you guys have been helping me follow, and you've been spreading the word, you've been liking, you've been downloading, you've been listening. All of that being said, the song Every Step just rolled over 50,000 plays as of midnight last night on Spotify, and I couldn't be more excited about it, and I quite frankly couldn't be more humbled about it. I mean, it's just it's an unbelievable thing, something that turned out to be merely a song that I wrote that was important to me, something I needed to get out, and thought that it might be a good idea. It might be important to share with people and have them hear the song and let them determine what it meant to them. And it's done really well. So I'm really excited about that. So I thought I'd play the video here just a little bit to share for those who've never seen it before. And along with that, I'm gonna play a few things. You know, today we're gonna talk about musical influence. And one of the things that I've done recently is I've put together a playlist, a collaborative playlist at that. And it's on my Spotify page. If you go there, you can check it out and see what's happening. Luckily, the first set of cameras, JD, were mine. They were iPhones, and it's amazing what you can find when you're up at 2 o'clock in the morning on Amazon looking for ways to make things better. I thought, well, okay, hey, I can go out and spend $200 on a, moving head camera, do that whole nonsense, or I could actually, just try one out, and it's probably from China, but it's pretty clear, actually. It's kind of cool. So anyway, I've got that on there. But the collaborative playlist I've made on Spotify is something that is going to be hopefully interactive for everyone. But I've called it Songs of Influence. And a lot of times people don't necessarily, the one thing that's great about music is that the introduction is talking to someone, one of your friends, and saying, hey, I heard this song. It was so great. And I remember to this day, the first album I ever bought, where I got it, what I was doing, and listening to the whole thing front to end. And I'm going to play one of the songs from that album because huge influence on everything that I've ever done in my life. Huge band for me. And it's not Pink Floyd, surprisingly enough. I didn't become a Floydie until much later. But when I first started listening to music, from the very beginning, it was like, I mean, look, you start listening to what your parents listen to, and then it kind of morphs into something else, and then you kind of figure out your own style. But I was very lucky because I grew up in the age of MTV. So, a lot of the stuff that came out, there was stuff that was already rocking before MTV even came out. So my first lesson in music was all of the, 80s rock and things like that. But the 70s is where, classic rock was born, and that's just the way it is. I mean, you can't deny the greatness of some of those bands. What's going on, Mark? Hey, man, thanks for stopping by. I mean, the 60s was great, too, but I was like one generation removed. Yeah, I like some of the 60s stuff, and I like classic rock, and there's no denying that bands like the Beatles were, great, but I didn't learn to appreciate them until later. My first foray into music and the first album I ever got, whether it was given to me or whether I probably wasn't old enough to have much more than lawn money. First album I ever got was Diver Down from Van Halen. And hands down, one of my absolute favorite albums to this day. And I know that it's chock full of cover songs, and it's not like Van Halen 1, which everyone loves, and then, of course, there's the Van Hagar years, which, personally, I like them both, and I like them both for different reasons. But I want to play a tune. You got to hear it. You guys know it. And it's hands down probably my favorite song, or actually it's two songs. It's an intro and then a second part of the song that comes off of Diver Down. So we're going to play a little of that, and then we'll get back to the next thing. But this is off a collaborative playlist I've made on Spotify. Collaborative means you can go in and you can add your influence songs too. And listen, I don't expect that I'm going to get hundreds of thousands of people on this playlist, but anyone who wants to join in, you can go in, you can add, you can edit, I can move things around, we can take things out. But the list that's on there right now includes my songs, It includes a couple of regional bands that I really like, but most of it is just music that's influenced me over the years. So here's our first one. You probably guys know this one. Let's do it. It's the intro to Little Guitars. Slides right in. So I don't expect you guys to look at me during this whole song. You guys enjoy the song. I'll throw up some pictures. I'll be back in a minute. Enjoy. Yeah, so there's so much there that I love that entire album, and seeing some of the comments too, as far as especially my friends that were listening at the same time. I mean, Royce just chimed in, said 1984 was his first, and that was my very second one. And then, Mark just said 5150, and he remembers where he bought it. I mean, that's the coolest thing about music and what we share. We get to talk about it. And, I think about that even in regards to my own music, and that's part of this. It's like, there's someone said, hey, this is cool, go check it out. 5150 has probably my single favorite song ever, and that's Summer Nights. I don't know what it is. That is a theme song from my youth, and when I was in high school, even though the album had been out for a few years, that was it. When we went out, we threw the top down on my car, or what at the time I had a Mitsubishi truck. It wasn't a truck, it was a truck, and it had no AC. And I think the stereo I put in it was worth more than the truck was, because that's what you do when you're 17 years old. And it was Summer Nights, Van Halen, and then whatever else I felt like playing. And usually ending up somewhere across the border in the middle of the desert lighting a fire. But yeah, I mean, so that's the coolest part about show off. But the rest of it that comes into play when I think about the music that influences me, and yes, we'll get to Pink Floyd because that is definitely an influence. I mean, it spans so many different things. And you think about, we have a particular thing that we really like, but then, there's so many other things that we don't even talk about. Beastie Boys' License to Ill Lee was one of the ones that definitely influenced me. And of all of those albums, I loved it. You had to steal it. I don't think I can say I've ever done that, but I get it. It was a very influential album, so it doesn't, I'm not hating on you, brother. Paul's Boutique for me, though, in regards to Beastie Boys, was something that definitely I thought was groundbreaking and was just out of this world when I heard that. And I was like, that's some amazing stuff. So one of the things that I wanted to do in regards to Live at Chance's House wasn't just to talk about my favorite music or even my own music, but it was also to reach out to other artists. So week one, we talked to Rob Irvin. And for those of my friends that know Rob, he's got a podcast and we talk about it all the time. But he has a band, and his band is called Grace Descending. They're a Christian rock band. They're actually really good. They do a lot of different things. And yes, they play cover tunes, but they play songs that are things that people like, that we're heavily influenced by that genre. And Rob in general likes all music, but he certainly has faith and he loves playing Christian rock, and they're great at it. Last week, I interviewed Devin Pike, of course, and Devin's been in and out of things all of his life. He is the karaoke king, and he's sang with just about every band you can think of, and he's done live band karaoke. He's played with some amazing people, including he helped front Bad Karma for me for at least 3-4 gigs. About 9 or 10 years ago, I broke my wrist real bad. I couldn't play. I was out for 8 weeks and couldn't do anything, and he played with us there and filled in and did a great job. But what I want to do is I want to play something for you from a guy that I'm going to be interviewing. I don't know if I'm going to do it this week. It may be the next episode. It might be episode 9. But his name's Xavier Valdez. And for whatever reason, I dig his sound. It's just something I like. It's total indie rock. It's out of my wheelhouse, and it's not something that I normally listen to be honest with you. And I dig it. I think it's cool, and I'm going to interview him. He's from California. We met on Instagram and started sharing ideas about Spotify and how to get more likes and do all that stuff. But just from networking, we had a common ground because he likes a lot of the same music I do, but his style is completely different than mine. And that's what's really amazing, is that you can have so many people that come together and like the same music, but then the things that they write or the things that they play are completely different. So this song's called Responsible. It can be found on Spotify. He just released it a couple of weeks ago. It's a really great song. Hope you guys enjoy it. Xavier Valdez. Here you go. So that was Xavier Valdez song's Responsible. You can find it on Spotify right now. As a matter of fact, he chimed in on my page and was had given a like to the podcast or the live stream. And so I just got on with him on Instagram, and he was telling me that he did a podcast last week, and we're going to hope to get him on here coming soon. So anyway, hey, again, going back, talking about collaborative playlists, talking about the music that's out there, and this is something new, by the way. I kind of doing this on the fly, like I've done everything, but you know, ultimately, my tongue is strong. I shouldn't do that because it's going to get bad later. Anyway, hope you guys are enjoying your burgers out there over at Joe's. Speaking of Joe's Tavern and Grill, our sponsor for live at Chance's house. And hey, you really are making a sandwich. In the next week or two, also, one of the other regional bands that I want to introduce you guys to is a Southern rock band out of Kentucky. And they've got some game. They're called Turn 3. And they've got a video out right now. They just released their song called On My Way a couple of weeks ago. And it's been getting some pretty solid hits. They're up to like 13,000 plays, and they just released it. So they're doing really well. They're getting a lot of traction organically, and I'm really proud of those guys. It's pretty awesome. Let's see what's going on here. So, Megadeth. I was a Metallica guy, but I appreciate Megadeth for what they've done. And I have to admit, though, I'm not fully versed in all of their stuff. I'm just not. I've got a lot of musical taste, and I don't hate on the band at all. I just don't think I know enough about them one way or the other, to be honest with you, because I could probably tell you, a couple of songs, and that's really about it. So the Turn 3 band started off, I know they started off as a cover band because I've watched some videos they put out on YouTube and whatnot, but they've decided to put some stuff together. They've probably been writing for a long time, but they've got an album that's coming out, and they just put this first release out. So I want you to check it out and tell me what you think. In the meantime, let's get on with it. This is called On My Way, Turn 3. Here you go. It's a good rockin' tune. Just feels good, too.
On my own is how it must be. I gotta earn my place to know I'll be free. Running from demons, I hold them at bay. Do my best to keep from falling away. Falling away. With each step, I get them much closer. Facing my fears, passing through them and over. Nothing will stop me, I know what I see. Climb the mountain, scale the highest peak. Scale the highest peak. On my way, I'm not going back. I'm on a southbound train on a one-way track. Keeping my head up out here on my own. You know there's so many miles before I'm home. In my mind, the doubts were not in her. Still in myself, I remain a contender. Fighting the good fight to show I belong. Through the challenge, I must keep carrying on. I must carry on. On my way, I'm not going back. I'm on a side.
So a little something from the Turn 3 band. Those guys are out of Kentucky. I put the Instagram page up for you so you guys can see that. So a lot of interactive stuff that they've got. They actually had this really creative thing that they did. I think I talked about this before on one of the other shows, was that they had this guy who was an impersonator for Tom Cruise, and I swear it was spot on. With the glasses, very risky business, and it was quite funny, actually. But they took that and turned it into a lot, because that video on Instagram got like 7,000 hits. And that's a lot for Instagram, especially when you put a video up that's as nonsensical as a 1 minute short about promoting the band. But it was funny, it was catchy, it was very original. So they did that. So moving right along, I thought continue going through this. I love the interaction, and thanks for you guys posting out there and letting me see what you got going on and talking about it. Mark just asked me about Jethro Tull, and what I can't stand about that whole situation is that everyone thinks that Jethro Tull is just a single guy in the band. I mean, that's my problem. No, I don't know a whole lot about Jethro Tull. I know of them, but I don't know enough about them. I can tell you that they've got a song called Aqualung, and it's a pretty cool song. And it came out in, I think, the 70s, and, I dig them in that respect. But I don't know much about them to say, oh, they're one of my favorites, and I certainly don't own any albums from them. So, Mark, any recommendations that you got, I'd take them, because I'd certainly listen to them. All right, moving right along. So far, so good with the audio quality and the lag and everything else. I think I'm finally working out the problems. I fired the engineering crew. That's where it came from, because those guys were worthless. They kept turning my mic off, and they were off in the back over there, and I'm done with those guys. So I guess I'm going to run this solo. I'll be the executive producer, director, talent, and all that stuff all rolled into one. Hey, so for those of you guys that are watching, and we've got 4 or 5 people on here, and I end up getting a lot of views more than I get actual people that stay on for a long period of time, and I'm okay with that, because people go back and watch the replays. I'm realizing that more and more. But if I ever start rambling or whatever, oh well, too bad. I'm having fun, and hope you guys are too. So we're just doing some tunes, and I think the Sunday show is going to be more about this, is rolling through some music, hanging out, talking about the stuff that's going on, talking about maybe even the music events of the world. And, hopefully we're going to be able to get back to some concerts and some other things, especially live playing, because as much as I enjoy doing this, I would love to be playing somewhere else. I know it. I'm pretty sure my first gig coming up in the near future is going to be at a pool party, according to Lee. So I have to work out the details on all that. But speaking of concerts, what concerts were you guys going to go see? I mean, I had like 5 lined up this year. I caught the Eagles right before the Rona hit, and then Chris Stapleton got canceled. I was going to that. Surprising, you guys might think, oh, that's kind of weird, but I had tickets to go see Daryl Hall and John Oates. They were going to play at that new Dickies Arena. I was looking forward to that. That got canceled. Well, it's rescheduled. And then after that, I was going to go see Steely Dan at the same place like 3 days later. That's been rescheduled. And I'm looking at it, and the tickets come in, and they say, your event's been rescheduled. And it was like almost the same date. And I'm like, what? They rescheduled it 3 days? And then, of course, I look at the email a little closer, and it's 2021. So it's 13 months away before I can capitalize on that gig. And then, not that it matters, because Kiss is going to tour forever on their End of the Road tour, which is their finale, their big swan song. And so that's got pushed back too, and that was something I was going to go with a friend to in October, and that's also been canceled. Oh, and then the Roger Waters show, of course, that got canceled until next year. So speaking of which, let's talk about Pink Floyd. So I know this is near and dear to my heart, and some people are very much into Floyd, and some people are very much not into Floyd. And those that are like, it's just like Van Halen. They like the old Floyd, they like Dark Side, they like The Wall, but they don't like new Floyd. If it doesn't have Roger Waters in it, isn't really Pink Floyd. Well, look, there's lots of schools of thought on that. I mean, there's been lots of successful bands that have been able to do things and turn things around with a different lead singer or a different lineup or whatever, and they have been just as successful and sometimes even more successful. the thing that I like about the entire collection of Pink Floyd is it's so dynamic, and every album from each one as they progress through their career, very much actually like the Beatles did, is completely different in a very short amount of time. So from essentially 1970 all the way through 1983, 13 years that the band and its core really put out the bulk of its work that made them the most popular. They had a lot of very influential albums and a lot of very influential songs. People ask me all the time, as a Floyd person, what is your favorite Floyd album? And it's really hard for me to say one way or the other. Most people think, oh, I would say Dark Side of the Moon. I might say The Wall. But actually, my favorite album is the most obscure album of them all. It's The Final Cut. But there's not that. I like that album for different reasons. It's more of a story. It's more of a theatrical piece than it is anything else. But just for the general population of what most people say, what do you like the most in regards to Pink Floyd, and what's your favorite stuff that they've ever done? It's got to be Animals, quite frankly, and I think that the songs on there are great. So let's hear one. What better time? My favorite song from Pink Floyd, and some of you guys may like, some of you may not. I don't know that I'll even play the whole song because I think it's like 11 minutes long. But regardless, it's a good tune. Hope you enjoy. Here you go. 1976, Animals. Song's called Dogs. Let me know your comments. Give me your questions. What do you want to talk about? I got time to kill. Just having some fun on a Sunday night. Live at Chance's house, brought to you by Joe's Tavern and Grill. Hope you guys enjoying your burgers out there. We'll be back here in just a few.
You got to be crazy. You gotta have a real need. Gotta sleep on your toes. And when you're on the street, you got to be able to pick out the easy meat with your eyes closed.
So a little dogs there for you from Pink Floyd. Animals. Talking over with Mark and commenting back and forth. I mean, listen, yeah, Echoes is an amazing. That's an amazing song, and I just commented and I told him that I got to see that live once. Let's see, I'm actually looking at the concert. It was in 2006. A good friend of mine, Marty, and I went out. We flew out to LA, and I saw David Gilmour playing his tour at the Kodak Theater, the same place they do the Academy Awards. It's now the Dolby Digital Theater, I think. And Rick Wright was still alive at the time, and they finished the night with that song, and it was awesome. I've never seen Pink Floyd with Roger Waters other than on videos. I've only seen Pink Floyd when they were Pink Floyd without Roger Waters. I saw them in '93 for the Division Bell tour. I was too young to go see them when they came out for the Delicate Sound of Thunder tour. That was like '87. But I knew about them by that time, and I had bought the album, and I was in at that point. And it wasn't until a couple of years later I went, what's this Dark Side of the Moon all about? And then I was pretty much hooked. I think I have at least 15 different copies of that album, from every remaster to the 10th anniversary, the 15th anniversary, the 25th anniversary, the 30th anniversary, all of them. I've got every one of them, and I don't care that they don't really sound much different. I buy them anyway because I'm a nerd and I like Pink Floyd, which is amazing that I put so much energy and effort into that particular band, because there's so many other great songs out there and so much other great music that, you guys are bringing up and talking about. So one of the things that I wanted to bring up, which is, again, another influential band, and I always assume that people that I hang out with like the same things I do, and that's not always true. And it's kind of an eclectic charm that I have with this particular band, but Steely Dan in my eyes can do no wrong. And I know it's kind of like, sort of like rock and jazz fusion, mixed together. And, some people don't like Donald Fagen's voice because they think it's too, whiny or whatever. But a lot of people can say that about a lot of different musicians and bands out there. And, but technically speaking, from my own personal opinion, they have the best produced albums of all time. And it's hard to argue, because I've talked to recording engineers, I've talked to other musicians. You can read about, infamously, when they were making those albums, they would spend literally, 18 months, 2 years to produce one album just to get it perfect, because that's how they were. And they never really wanted to tour. Donald Fagen never wanted to be the front man. He never wanted to be the guy that was out there, because, one, he didn't think that he had the look, and two, it wasn't his style. He was a producer and musician first, and wanted the albums to be great. And my love for Steely Dan came from a greatest hits album when I was in high school, and then I was hooked after that and had to get every album they owned, or not they owned, but that they made. And everyone's got a favorite, one way or the other. My favorite probably has to be Asia, but there's also the Royal Scam is a great one. You've got Pretzel Logic, Gaucho. All of them are great albums, and you can listen to them front to end. And I think that's the thing I miss more about music than anything else, is that I haven't found a band recently that I can say front to end. Actually, I have thought of one. I'll tell you what it is in a minute. Front to end, I listened to the album. I bought the record, listened to the whole thing, and went, wow, I could listen to that again all the way through and enjoy it. And the last album I did that with was Fear Inoculum from Tool. And when they released that album, everyone had been waiting for years for that album to come out. And I'm a Tool fan, and I like them. But that album is a masterpiece. It is, hands down, one of the best efforts that they've ever put out. And front to end, I can listen to that and not worry about that there's a single. But before that, I can't think of one. And maybe in the 90s, I can think of a few albums that I bought and went, okay, yeah, I like that front to end without problem. But nowadays, it seems like everything is driven by, singles, and the way to market music is, partnering with someone else, and it's crap. Let's just say, right? There's some great rock music coming out, which is why I like talking to people that are doing it locally and regionally more than I like seeing what's coming out commercially. And sure, there's still bands that have been around for 30 plus years that are putting out music, and yep, I'm buying that stuff too. But it's hard to find. So I don't know what your favorite Steely Dan song is. I know what mine is. I've got a whole bunch of them. But even though it was probably one of the top 10 of their commercial hits, no doubt, but for whatever reason, I like this song. Every time I hear it, I sing along to it.
I remember the 35 sweet goodbyes when you put me on the Wolverine of Duane and Dare. It was still September when your daddy was quite surprised to find you with the working girls in the county jail.
Something there for you from Steely Dan. The album was Countdown to Ecstasy, and that's got to be hands down one of my favorites. I mean, it's a toe-tapping song. You can't not like that song, but of course there's a lot of other ones too. Mark saying Hey 19, one of my favorites and Reelin' in the Years. Absolutely. Hey 19 was the first song I ever heard, and I did the thing that maybe some of you guys did. I don't know. I mean, it had nothing to do with guys. It had to do with girls. And it was kind of, if you think about it now, there's a little bit of a weirdness about that song. However, I bought Steely Dan's Greatest Hits when I turned 19 years old just to hear that song. So that was certainly my introduction. And Steely Dan's Greatest Hits, actually a decade of Steely Dan, is one of the no, I'll go say it. It's one of the greatest hits albums out there because it just includes so much good stuff. And then they still had songs that came out after that that were incredible, including all of Donald Fagen's solo efforts that he did. And then they even released 2 more albums after that that were great. So lots of stuff with Steely Dan. You know, some other songs that I really dig from them, you know, including off Asia, you've got Peg, you've got Black Cow. You know, an obscure song that was off the Royal Scam was a song called The Fez. If you guys don't remember that one, it's the one that goes, I'm not going to play the whole thing, but it's just a funky tune. You got to do it with your fez on, right? Do it without the fez on. Anyway, but there's so many. Again, they're one of those classic rock bands that just everything that they touch is gold. And, you know, I yearn for that, to finding what's the next band that's going to do that, that's going to blow our socks off. And we're going to go, wow, that was amazing. I can't believe that either if I just got introduced to them, I haven't been listening to them for years, or, you know, how many more albums are they going to come out? And, you know, I'm going to go out on a stretch here and say that I think that one of those bands that's still young enough and going to be doing it for a while and are going to continue to write great albums. And I'm definitely in a minority with this because I'm not really a Nirvana fan, but I love Foo Fighters. And I think that everything they've done has been awesome, especially, you know, in the wake of everything they've had to deal with. Look, I liked Nirvana when they came out, kind of, and they were okay, but it really didn't blow me away. I thought Smells Like Teen Spirit was a really cool song at the time, and I was young enough to go, ooh, it's Nirvana, they're so cool. And yeah, I bought the album and I went out and did that. But the more I listened to it, the more it just didn't connect with me for some reason. But then, you know, obviously after the tragic passing of Kurt Cobain and then the wake of that coming Foo Fighters, I think I have everything they've got. And it's been awesome. But Dave Grohl isn't a talented musician anyway, just outside of being a talented drummer. All right. Hey, so we made an announcement earlier for those that weren't on or just jumping on right now. Again, thank you for everyone who shared, listened, talked about, you know, whatever it may be. The song Every Step that I wrote, put out about 60 days ago, has just turned over 50,000 hits. And I'm very blessed to be able to say that, and very humbled by all of it. And I figured what better time that we could do this. And I was going to share with you, I know you guys have seen this a few times, but for those who are going to be watching the replay that maybe have never seen this before, I thought I'd throw it up here and show you the video. The song's called Every Step. Thank you for all you guys do and all the support you've ever done. I appreciate it. Here you go. Yeah, and that's not it, of course. A Joe's Tavern production. Here you go. And that's not it either.
All right, we are live at Chance's house, and this is Season 1, Episode 4, doing the interview with...
And there's the Devin Pike interview. This is fantastic. Gotta love technology. I gotta fire those engineers. Nope. we saw that video already too. We're just gonna cycle through all of them until I get to that song.
This is
And then it'll be
a song
great.
called In the Line.
Yeah, let's do that. We'll take the long way around.
Every day you ask yourself, did I give enough love? It's just a passing feeling, but it sure seems tough. You think about all the times you thought you'd give up. And then the feeling hits, so you make your own love. 'Cause you never really know how you can fly. 'Cause you never really know how hard you can try. And even though I'm miles away, I'll come along with you every day. I'll lead you through the dark, I'll be with you every step of the way. Walking through your mind, you see all the things that seem rough. You smile and laugh and play, but it's just not enough. The water's rising up again, and you just can't keep up. But you give it a go one more time, and you pick yourself up. 'Cause you never really know how you can fly.
that was the official video, and hope you guys enjoyed that. For those of you guys who have never seen that before, the assistant producer over at Joe's has just informed me that the lag has creeped back in just ever so slightly. I'm not seeing it on my end, so I'll have to go back and review it a little bit later. But I've been going at this for about an hour anyway. Just thought we'd have a little bit of fun. Hope you guys enjoyed this. So to tell you a few things, Sunday nights are kind of going to be this thing, you know, talk about music. Maybe this will be the interview show. I don't really know yet. I'm still kind of playing through it and figuring it all out. But first off and foremost, again, thank you for everyone who's watched, listened, put up with all my Facebook posts and Instagram posts and everything about the song Every Step. It is a true blessing and something that I'm very proud of. And to have the fact that it's rolled over that many plays on Spotify just is kind of mind blowing to me. As a matter of fact, I started off with 9, and I think 8 of them were my listens. Don't worry, I don't think I've been able to come up with 50,000 plays on my own. But even if I did, that would be a lot of dedication, and I should, you know, pat myself on the back for that anyway. So for more information about what I'm doing, what's going on, you can see the scroll bar below, musicbychance.com. A special thank you out to all the fellas at Joe's Tavern and Grill, where everybody knows your name, where you can drink, eat, and you never leave. Go make me a sandwich. Tonight, go make me a burger. But with that said, we also have a lot of other exciting things coming up. Don't forget my other band, RDO Red Dirt Outlaws, rdoband.com. You can find out what we're doing, where we're playing, and hopefully hear soon where we're playing in the next probably 60 days. But we do have a single that's coming out on June 19th. It's called No Breaks. You can go to rdoband.com right now and catch a clip of what that sounds like for all the songs that are on the album. And the album will be coming out probably in about 60 days too when we start playing live. But we got 4 singles that we're going to release between now and then, and we're going to stagger them out and have some fun with that. Live at Chance's house every Thursdays at 7, sometimes Sundays. Turns out that it's kind of been a Sunday thing anyway, even though I get off work late, but I've been enjoying it nonetheless. Hope you guys enjoyed it too. Special thank you to Xavier Valdez and his song. Special thank you out to the Turn 3 band. Don't forget, on Mondays and Thursdays at 9 p.m., check out Devin Pike, universalremote.tv. You can check him out on Twitch as well, twitch.com/thatdevinguy. And then on Sunday nights also, you can check out my buddy Rob Irvin in the Clubhouse podcast starting at 6:30 on Sundays. He's got the replays that show up on his website as well as his Facebook page. You guys have been great. Thank you so much for the comments and all that you do. And I appreciate you chiming in. Royce, thank you. Thanks for stopping by, and it's great to see you as well. And hey, Jeremy, killing it, brother. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And for all those friends that have stopped by and said hello, I really appreciate all of you guys. As always, we'll see you next time. I'm going to leave you with my favorite song while we run the end credits as well. From Van Halen, I talked about it earlier, doing a little Summer Nights on my radio. Here we go.
Ain't no way